Let's get started. It's a very pleasant Wednesday to everyone. I want to welcome you on behalf of the ACL board. My name is Krista Bradley. I'm your moderator tonight. I'm class of 86. I'm the co-president of that class, and I'm a proud member of an alumni class leaders board, and a proud member of our membership training committee, which is helping to support Tonight, we will go through a couple of different groups, and I'm just going to walk you through the agenda. The next person that will be up is our ACL board president, and we're looking forward to hearing from her. I'll then give a brief overview of Brown's affinity groups. You'll hear from the Asian and Asian American Alumni Alliance, the Brown Alumni Pride Association, and the Disability and Neurodivergence Alumni Collective. Next slide. I am proud and happy to introduce our ACL board president, Sarah Gummel. Sarah?
Thanks so much, Krista. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Sarah Gomel, class of 2006, and I am honored to be the ACL board president. Before we get into the very exciting programming that we have for you tonight, I'm going to take a few minutes to walk you through a little bit about the ACL and the ACL board, what we do, and how we are here to support you as class leaders in your work. Next slide, please. And there's a little fun fact, but so what is the ACL? We get this question a lot. You as a class leader are part of this fantastic group of over 750 class leaders. We call ourselves alumni class leaders. We work to keep alumni engaged in the Brown University community through class affiliation. And as the class president, treasurer, communications co-chair, reunion co-chair, you are a class leader who is charged with connecting your class and former classmates through reunions, wraparound events, inter-reunion communications with Brown, keeping them connected with each other as a community, and then also keeping them engaged with happenings on campus. And we, as the ACL Board of Advisors, our mission is inspiring purposeful leadership and lifelong engagement with Brown University through class affiliation. And you may have heard me say this before, but I know that when I meet a fellow Brown alum out in the wild, the first thing I ask is not, what did you study or where did you live on campus? The first question I ask is always, when did you graduate? So class affiliation can be one of those really big identifiers for Brown alums. And our board and all of you as class leaders are charged with really nurturing those connections with fellow class leaders and classmates. And so how does the board try to support you? We offer fantastic trainings and webinars like you're present here for tonight. We offer mentoring, we offer online tools and resources. We're going to be experimenting with some sort of live networking resources as well. Lots of different ways that we are here for you to support you. We are Brown volunteers and leaders, and the board is, for volunteers by volunteers. We have 3 excellent committees. The communications committee is in your inbox a few times a year. You probably see our newsletter filled with tips and tricks and best practices that other class leaders are doing to connect with their class or have really great events going on. We have our DEIB, our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee that works really closely with the Alumni Relations Department staff to make sure that we are at the forefront for creating inclusive events that make everyone feel a really warm welcome at either our events, through our communications, or when they return to campus. We want everybody to feel like Brown is still home, as it was a wonderful home for us for those 4 years when we were students at Brown. And then we have trainings. Our fantastic training committee has really prepared something special for you tonight. And this is a great example of how those 3 committees work in collaboration, work in conjunction with one another to provide excellent programming. And before I let us get to it, I have one more plug to make. So next slide, please, and then we'll get to it. This is our Volunteer Resource Center. And whether you are an experienced class leader or maybe a class leader who is new and joining us for the first time, this is your one-stop shop for everything you need to be successful. We have so many great tips and tricks there. There are videos of past trainings. We have guides and tip sheets for class leaders created by our volunteer leaders and staff. There are event planning tips and new leader cheat sheets and videos from our training last year on DE&I as a tool for class engagement. So I really invite you to check this out. We're going to be sharing out the link if you haven't been there as well. Been there already. There's also contact information, so you can reach out to the ACL board. You can reach out to your alumni relations staff members, and of course, connect with us on social media. So really encourage you to check that out after the webinar today. And I just want to take another quick minute before turning it back over to Krista, just to say thank you to you class leaders for everything you do for your class and all you do for the Brown alumni community. We are so grateful for all of your hard work and really appreciate you. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's webinar. Krista?
What are we talking about with Brown Alumni Affinity groups? There are great ways to find connection with Brown and engage fellow Brunonians around shared identities. We know that Brunonians share more than just their ties to Brown, even their wonderful ones that that we care about. Through affinity groups, alumni can connect with one another and the university around cultural, racial, ethnic, gender, sexual orientation, identity, and disability identities that cut across generations, regions, and professions. We are one alumni body, but we have many voices, which makes us powerful indeed. So, Brown Alumni's first affinity group community was founded in the 1980s with the establishment of the Brown Gay and Lesbian Alumni Group, now known as the Brown Alumni Pride Association, or BAPA. In the early 2000s, affinity groups focused on the experiences of alumni of color were established, beginning with the creation of the Inman Page Black Alumni Council, the IPC, which originated with the efforts of several undergraduates working on an independent study project around Black alumni organizations in the Ivy League. The Brown University Latino Alumni Council, or BULAC, and the Asian American Alumni Alliance A4, as well as the Native American Brown Alumni, BAPA, were founded later to build connections and support within their respective Brown communities. The Brown's Women Network was established in 2019, followed up on the success of the 125 years of Women at Brown, celebration in 2017. So we've had a long history of development among our alumni groups. Next slide, please. I named some of them, but we have 7 alumni affinity groups. You've heard us talk about a few of them. You're going to hear from the Asian and Asian American Alumni Alliance, Brown Alumni Pride Association, and Disability and Neurodivergence tonight. But as I've mentioned, the other affinity groups are BULAC, Brown's Women's Network, Inman Page Black Alumni Council, and the Native American Brown Alumni, BAPA. Next slide. So I am very pleased to introduce our first speaker. And while we're only highlighting 3 today, we do want to let you know that we're going to have a couple of more highlighted in the fall when we do another webinar to highlight our alumni groups. So I'd like to introduce V. Mai, class of 17, who will talk to us about A4. V, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you all hear me? Okay, just making sure because I'm on my headphone. Good evening, everyone. I realize it's now 7 p.m. my time, so it's been a bit of a long day at work. My name is V. Mai. I'm class of 2017. I am one of the co-presidents of A4. Next slide, please. So A4 stand for Asian/Asian American Alumni Alliance. We were created back in 2003, as mentioned by Krista. And our goal/purpose is to build connections between and among Brown University and its Asian and Asian American alumni. Next slide, please. With that origin in mind, our mission is threefold. First is to encourage and facilitate positive experiences and engagement with the university. Second is to act as a conduit and facilitator to address the needs of the Brown Asian and Asian American community. And third is to build partnership with members of the greater Brown universities. And via these missions, we have created 9 core values, which are unity, awareness, growth, leadership, support, communications, involvement, development, and representations. And we use these core values to guide the work that we do as A4. Next slide. And so in terms of the work that we do, we have a diverse offering of program, both to Asian and Asian American alumni, as well as the larger alumni community. And one thing I want to emphasize about our offering is that we rarely do programming solely by ourselves. Most of our programmings, if not all, are in collaborations with internal and external organizations. So in the past, we have done multiple events/programming, which include the movie premiere of Joyride. So if you have not watched this movie, I highly recommend. It's hilarious. And we did this premiere in collaboration with other Asian identified alumni association across the IVs. We also did a book talk in collaboration with the Brown Club of Hawaii. And the AAPI potluck was done last year. And that was in New York in collaborations with other alumni group in New York among the IVs. So in terms of future programming, we have some start coming up. In fact, there's one that coming up tomorrow. So if in New York, and if you're interested in attending this mixer, please let me know. But we have an Alumni Affinity Club spring mixer in collaboration with the Brown Club of New York and IPC. Is tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Cornell Club, which I heard is very nice. So I'm very curious to see what it's like. The second is that commencement is coming up, and we'll be having a commencement celebrations for both graduating students, as well as for alumni and parents of graduating students. It's on Saturday, May 25th. So like I said, if you're interested, please let me know. And lastly, before the end of the fiscal year, we will be having a mixer in collaboration with the Brown Club of Boston. Next slide. So how do you get in touch with us? So before I go into that, one thing I do want to highlight is that A4 is looking for nominations for the 2024-2026 Executive Board. So if you're interested in nominating your peers or yourself, please complete this form by May 31st. Additionally, we have also provided ways to get in touch with us, whether it's via social media, or if you're interested in partnering with us for events, and which is something that we very much emphasize and highly encourage, you can either email me or email A4 at the email address provided in this deck, or complete the form as any way any of these medium would reach us. But yes, please, we welcome the ability or the opportunity, excuse me, to collaborate with other organizations. And I think
Awesome,
that's all
V.
from my end.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. You all are busy and have lots of great events coming up, so congratulations. I have a couple of questions. First, how do you become a member of A4?
That is a good question. So if so A4 is and I know that there are members of alumni relation on here, so please let me know if I am if it is incorrect, but I believe that for any individuals who are alumni who identify as Asian and Asian American will automatically be part of the kind of A4 purview. Or is in the case communication, but if you're not, you're welcome to subscribe to the Brown A4 official communication newsletters, and that is how you can get in touch with us and become a member.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And with tomorrow's event, I wonder, I know that you're doing it with the IPC. Are non-A4 alumni welcome to the mixer tomorrow?
Yes, it is in collaboration with IPC and the Brown Club of New York, so all alumni are welcome.
Wonderful. And since you are doing this in collaboration, I wonder, if you have any tips or tricks for class leaders on how they can collaborate with other groups for joint events like yours.
Yeah, I would say is what I have found to be very helpful is it's always good to reach out to these individuals, just get to know them first, to get a sense of what are the priorities that are facing each of these affinity groups. And then from there, you can identify opportunities for collaborations. I often found that to be the most organic. Obviously, if there are events that the class leaders have in mind already, is still good to reach out. But I found that the organic networking first is tend to be the best form of ideations before planning the event.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but I'm sure that folks may have some at the end. So, Fee, thank you so much. I'm
It
super
seemed like
excited
Bill
about
might
all the
have a
things that are
question.
happening. Oh, Bill, do you have another question?
I do. I just want to say, first
Sorry.
of all, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I'm learning a lot already. I really appreciate it. My class, if I wanted to get the word out in my class, should I put your name in as a person for the people who are, you say that if you're a certain group, you automatically in the group. Should I put your name in as a people that's a person to contact if they want to get more involved?
Yes, they're welcome to reach out to me, or they can use the email of A4 that we have provided in the deck as well. So either way it works.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if that was just for partnering, not joining. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Of course.
And I think Bob Sherman might have a question. Bob?
Oh, so that therefore, since people are invited to New York, what about the Boston event? Being from New Hampshire here,
Yeah,
and
so
letting
yeah,
those in this area know.
yeah, it'll be open to all alumni. This will be in collaboration with the Brown Club of Boston. So our goal there is to, uh, you know, first and foremost, collaborate with the Brown Club of Boston, but also provide an opportunity for alumni, regardless of whether they identify as Asian and Asian American or not, to connect with one another.
Right, and the date and time and place will be announced
Yes.
on the website. Thank you.
Awesome. Sarah, did you have a question that you wanted to raise?
Yeah. So this is kind of a question actually that goes out for all of our panelists tonight. And so maybe Mara and Jonathan can think about this too. But Via, I'm thinking about whether you at A4 have any like signature events or annual events that class leaders can help let their classmates know about. I know that not only does the ACL board have newsletters, but often class leaders have their own newsletters that go out to classes. And if there are any like signature events, like at commencement, for example, I know as Sylvina just responded to me actually in the chat, but like reunion commencement weekend events that we can help promote as class leaders, I think we'd be really interested in doing that. So maybe we can talk after this even, or maybe you can let class leaders know, like, how can we help you get the word out to all class leaders, and through class leaders help, amplify those messages to all classmates.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea, and thank you, Susavina, for helping me with answering the question in the chat. But yes, for us, our biggest event is our commencement celebrations. It's a tradition that we do every year, even during COVID. And so, if there's ways to really publicize the celebration, we would love the opportunity to do so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then just getting a little bit more information about A4 as it stands now. How many members are there right now?
Oh, wow. I believe we have a lot. I do not have the number off the top of my head, and that is, excuse me for that. But if Alumni
Okay.
Relation have that number, if you could help me out, that would be great. But I personally don't have the rough number off the top of my head.
We can just say it's growing.
Yes, it is growing. It's definitely sometimes too big to count.
Yes. Okay. Well, great. All right. Well, I think with that, we might move on to one of your colleagues, and if folks have other questions at the end, we'll come back to you. Thanks so much. I'd like to welcome Mara Gottlieb, class of 93, to join us and talk about BAPA, the Brown Alumni Pride Association. Hey, Mara.
Hi, Krista. Thank you so much. And Salsa, thank you. And to everyone who was coordinating this, you did an amazing job. And I'm really, really honored and grateful to be connecting with you all and just being given the opportunity to share more about the Brown Alumni Pride Association and to answer absolutely any questions that anybody might have about it. So we were talking about this at the very beginning, but if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, that would be great. So yes, and my name's Mara Gottlieb. Krista said it perfectly, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And Ryan Grubbs is on this call, so really we should be spotlighting him because for many years he was at the helm of what was known as Brown TB Gala or TB Gala, the Brown University Transgender, Bisexual, Gay, and Lesbian Alumni Group, and it was a lot of work for him. And so he eventually asked for volunteers and he sent out an email and was ready to kind of pass the baton. And he passed it on as the co-chairs to myself and Tyler Rubin, who is, I believe, class of 99. And, you know, it was, and Ryan, I hope this is okay, all due respect, but you know, some of the feedback that we got was like, tuberculosis, what? Like what is this group? And that people didn't quite understand what the name was supposed to stand for. And so we started off saying, you know, with this new energy, do we also need to maybe rebrand this? And this was going on 3 years ago. And man, did we come up with some absolutely amazing, fun names, including Ever Proud, kind of play on Ever True. But we ended up with the Brown Alumni Pride Association. And one of the great things about this name is its capacity, I believe, to grow with the way that LGBTQIA Two-Spirit, P, all of the plus identities are continuing to be defined. So it is, I know, I loved Ever Proud too. I was kind of in favor of that, but what can you do? Anyway, it really can grow as the communities grow. And so we are the Brown Alumni Pride Association. And next slide, please, if you wouldn't mind. There are 9 of us. Sylvina, I just want to say thank you so much for this fantastic Brady Bunch photo that was put in the Brown Alumni and Friends newsletter and online. This is our steering committee, and it's phenomenal. We meet once a month, and it's a group of committed people. I believe that Ace is here tonight. I think I saw him in one of our Hollywood squares tonight, but it's a really committed, passionate group of people. And the one spot we have not yet filled, and so I wanted to put this out because of what Sarah said earlier in terms of you all maybe being able to help us. We are very much still looking for a graphic designer. We have Patrick Snee, who has done our logo, which, are you going to get to see that? Maybe I didn't include it. We have an absolutely fantastic bear logo, the brown bear logo with the progress flag. It's very fun. It's very accessible. It's very optimistic. And we've been using that in a lot of different forms, but we do need a graphics designer to continue to move us forward in terms of having a consistent logo and a consistent brand. So if anybody knows someone who would be excited about doing that, who is a member of these vast and varied communities, we would please let us know, and you'll get my contact information and BAPA's contact information in a couple of slides. So next slide, please. So we also had to think about getting some clarity as to what our mission was going to be. And what we kept coming up with again and again is, how can we create a group that allows for as much connection as people within these LGBTQIA plus communities want, both to the Brown environment and the Brown community, but also to each other. And so what we decided our real emphasis was that we wanted to really celebrate and amplify LGBTQIA alumni of all the schools of Brown University, in the hopes of doing any advocacy that was needed, in terms of visibility, just that we're here, that we exist as a group to support any initiatives that people are interested in getting support for, and community building. Our hope is that we're trying very hard to support our members and strengthen the connection to the university. We have right now about 2,500 members, and we know, again, to Sarah's earlier point, we know that that is quite low. I don't know if you all know this, but in the most recent survey that was taken, 38% of Brown's undergraduates identified as being part of the LGBTQIA communities. And that's amazing to me. That is huge. And it just really speaks volumes of how inviting Brown is to its queer and gender fluid communities. And so we are really hoping to continue to grow our membership. Thanks to Silvina Hernandez's help, we are now also on the same registration website as the other affinity groups. And so anytime that somebody checks the LGBTQ box, they will automatically now be connected to Bravo. So that's and they will be connected to us. And so that's another way of getting in touch with us. But we're trying as much as possible just to let people know that we're out here as a place for support and celebration and amplification. And this last bullet point, I think, is really significant, that BAPA is committed to honoring and promoting the diversity and intersectionality of its members, current students, faculty, administration, and other alumni affinity groups. One thing I want to say to the class leaders is not everyone had as comfortable or welcoming an experience at Brown as some of us on this call might have. And particularly if we either didn't know what our sexual identity was, or we were afraid to share it, or we were kind of grappling with the intersections of these identities, it may not have been something that we were as comfortable with then as we might be now. And so to whatever extent you do feel comfortable promoting our events, and I'll be showing you a couple of them in just a moment, we would be eternally grateful, and it would be enormously helpful just to get the word out about us. On that note, next slide, please. We have had a number of recent events. We were really honored to get to partner with A4 on an intersectionality discussion about what it's like to be at the intersection of being part of the Asian American or Pacific Islander communities and being part of the LGBTQIA communities. We would love opportunities to continue to do that with other affinity groups. So just wanted to put that out there. We did something for the Thanksgiving holiday at the Stonewall Center, where we just invited students who did not have any place to go, who identified as members of these communities, to come and hang out and to have a place that felt like home, a place where they could be welcome and be relaxed. And there was a really nice turnout for that. And it was our first one as BAPA. So hopefully we'll continue to grow those numbers. We're trying to have meetups in different states. A lot of our membership is East Coast, so we're really hoping. We have a steering committee member who is in Kansas City. We have a steering committee member who's out in the Pacific Northwest, and so we're hoping to continue to grow those communities. And we just yesterday finished our third book group. Really, really juicy, interesting discussions about books that are somehow LGBTQIA connected. And that's really the only kind of requisite for the book. So we vote on them as a group, and then we have two book groups where we discuss the various books. And I think that gets us to our last slide, I think. Second to last. Ooh, okay. So please, this is one of the events that you are more than welcome to promote, that we would love for you to promote, which is, I'm totally saying this tongue in cheek, but you know that all gays love brunch. And so we decided to do a brunch instead of doing a dinner. Mainly we wanted to pick a time where when people identify with numerous identities and don't want to have to choose among them or prioritize them in terms of going to different celebrations at graduation, we decided to have ours as a brunch, which doesn't conflict with any of the other groups' events, most of which I think are dinners. So please, absolutely, we would love to have you. If you haven't seen the Stonewall Center yet, it's gorgeous. It really combines kind of this wonderful study and celebration area with something that feels like a home. And so please go and take a look. And then New York City Pride is coming up on June 30th, 2024. And we marched in it for the first time last year. You can see our group. It was really a nice, healthy size group. And we had matching t-shirts that had our new logo on it. So please, we would love for you to advertise that. And we would love for folks to join us if you're anywhere near the East Coast or New York come June 30th. And I guess last slide, please. I think. Yes, there we go. So as I mentioned, getting in touch, how to become a member. If somebody checks the LGBTQ box on your alumni profile, when you go into the alumni and friends and you're filling out your profile, you will automatically be included in BAPA's contact list. So you will start receiving all of our emails. But in addition to that, we have a really healthy, active membership with lots and lots of posts on Instagram and on Facebook. So please look for us there and feel free to join us and follow that. If you have any questions, please at bapa@alumni.brown.edu. Both myself and Tyler are checking that all the time. So we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And this last part is just, how to be an advocate for us if you identify as cisgender and straight or heterosexual. We really are trying to increase our numbers just so that people who want to be with us know about us. And so really, if you can spread the word in any way, letting your friends know on Facebook, getting people connected to the Instagram or Facebook pages, any way that you can be of help, or please contact me through the BAPA email, and I would be honored and delighted to work with you further on ways that we can get the word out. So I think that's it. Krista, any questions for me or anybody else have any questions?
That's fantastic. No, just congratulations. And I'm super excited about all the events that you have coming up. And I haven't been to the Brown Stonewall Center yet, so I think
Sure.
that's definitely on the list. For the events that you mentioned, do people need to register in advance? How would they, if they wanted to actually participate in some of the events coming up?
There we go. Selena, you're
Oh,
the
there we go.
best. Thank you. So you can just show
Awesome.
up for the BAPA brunch, and there will be a registration for New York City Pride just so that we have a sense of how many people are going to gather. We would also, our budget is limited, but we would love to at least try to help with paying for t-shirts this year. And we would need to know what size t-shirt you wanted if you wanted to join us.
Awesome. Do you have fundraising for your events already, or are you looking to do more?
We are looking to do more, and we are looking to learn more about how to do more. So would very much welcome the advice and wisdom of people who have done more of this. So yes, please get in touch for any kind of suggestions on that.
Wonderful. You mentioned a couple of things that I really appreciated you underscoring. Not everyone had the same experience at Brown, and may have not been in a place in their own journey where they knew their identity or were comfortable coming out.
Yes.
And then those of us that are at different ages and stages have experienced a lot of evolution in language and may not feel as comfortable about what if we know the right things to say. So I'm going to just put this out here because I'm not sure if everybody knows, but can you actually tell us what LGBTQIA++ means?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes. And I do want to say at our book group yesterday, we had someone who was 28 years old, and we had someone who was 76 years old, and I'm 54, and just a real range. And it's exactly what you said. Not everybody knows the language, and that's okay. And also, one of the things that we talked about is we also don't make any assumptions about what somebody's sexual or gender identity is. So please don't feel that you need to have already gotten the toaster in order to be part of the group. So just want to be clear, you don't have to have the identity card. But so yes, lesbian, bisexual, LGBT, transgender, queer, and queer can mean gender queer or sexuality queer. It's a word that has really been taken up and taken on, particularly I think by younger generations. And what I love about it is there's kind of a fierceness to it of, I don't want to be in any of your boxes. So I'm using this word because I may identify not as binary male or female. I may not identify as gay or lesbian, but I want to take on this title for myself. The I is intersex, which is a group that may or may not identify sexually or gender-wise as being part of this group. So it's people who are born with genitalia that is ambiguous in terms of gender. And then A can stand for asexual or aromantic. So somebody who, as one of my former students said, has the superpower of not being made crazy by hormones and sexual attraction. So I'm glad that you asked. And then P stands for pansexual or poly. That's being added a lot. Two-spirit is more of a native or indigenous term of kind of somebody who embodies both male and female qualities, identities. So again, just like Krista said, the language is constantly changing.
Thank you so much for that.
Right.
And also, you talked about visibility and just how, as class leaders, we can help increase visibility of BAPA among our own classmates. Are there other ways that we can be supportive and helpful in your mission? And are there some ideas that you might have about ways that we might collaborate?
So first of all, to those of you who have put your pronouns in your Hollywood squares, I want to say thank you. Particularly if you have the privilege of being cisgender, when you put your gender identity in your Hollywood square, what you are saying is, I'm an ally. This is talking about gender is something that I think about and is something that you are welcome to think and talk about. I don't mean it should never be pressure for anybody to come out about their pronouns. People are welcome not to share them. But that's one way that you are already being an ally. I think it goes to what you just said, Krista. We don't know what we don't know. And so to whatever extent the class leaders would welcome or be interested in a training around gender and sexual identity to just make sure that you are as conscious as you can be about language and identity. There are just very simple ways that we can demonstrate allyship that don't change a lot of our behavior or our language, but for somebody who is a member of these communities, it can make a huge difference in feeling seen and in trusting you. So I think that's enormously, something that we'd be very happy to do. We can offer resource lists in terms of books, in terms of I think that the sky's the limit. It's really just, and I feel like this tonight is a big stepping stone in this, is just you having acknowledged that we're out here and so that there is that ability for us to connect. Marco, were you going to say something?
Nope. Thanks, Mara. This was fantastic, and I think there will be lots of opportunities for us to partner. We're all focused on trying to engage our classmates and to see them and to engage them in ways that create a sense of belonging for all of us. So ways that we can do that by partnering with you and learning more about ways to do it better would be great for everybody. So
I'm going to say one more
thanks.
thing, if I may. I am white
Please.
European. That's probably pretty obvious. If the statistics say that 49% of the LGBTQIA communities are folks of color, are folks with darker skin. So please don't let my representation convince anybody that our affinity groups shouldn't be working together, or that if you have people who are of one particular affinity group, that they don't also belong here. So that's one of the reasons why I think working together would be so fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara. All right, we are getting down to the wire here, and we're so excited to hear from Jonathan Mooney and the newest Alumni Affinity group, the Disability and Neurodivergence Alumni Collective. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with y'all. My name is Jonathan Mooney. I am class of 2000. I am a class leader for the class of 2000. And I am honored to be the founding chair of Brown's newest affinity group, the Disability and Neurodivergent Alumni Collective, or DNAC. Now, before I kind of give you a little overview of DNAC, how it got started and what we're all about, let me just do two quick pieces of housekeeping. I want to do a visual identifier, which is a best practice for inclusion for folks who are engaging in virtual experiences who may have low visibility. Just give you a sense, if you can't see me, what I look like. So I got kind of hipster glasses on. I got kind of spiky hair. I'm a white dude. I got a gray beard that my 16-year-old tells me is getting grayer every day. So that's me. Second piece of housekeeping, just a big old shout out to the folks at the Association of Class Leaders, and a big old shout out to the class leaders on the call today. You know, it's a trying time for community at Brown, and your work matters. And taking the time to expand the circle of belonging in Brown to reach folks who may have historically felt disconnected or marginalized from Brown, that matters more than ever. So I appreciate y'all very much. So with that said, we'll go to the next slide, and I'll share a little bit about the origin of DNAC. So DNAC is the result of decades of collective advocacy by alums and students across different race, class, sexual orientations, and ability status, demanding and challenging the university to expand its definition of diversity to include disability and neurodivergence. Too often, when we talk about building a more inclusive, just, and equitable world, expanding that circle of belonging, what's left out is a conversation about folks with atypical brains and bodies. It's important for y'all to know that the advocates who advanced and championed disability as diversity over the years, many of them came to this work because of personal experiences of marginalization because of their brain or body difference. You know, we got a culture that says normal is good and right, and if your brain, your body doesn't fit that idea of normal, well, something's wrong with you. You know I came to this work for that reason. I was the kid in school that had a hard time sitting still, grew up on a first name basis with Shirley, the receptionist in the principal's office, didn't learn to read until I was 12 years old. I was diagnosed with dyslexia, ADHD, and a whole bunch of other learning and attentional differences. And I was generally given the message that my differences made me deficient as a human being. And that sticks with you, y'all. It really does. Now, for me, my time at Brown University was a time of healing and transformation. It was a time in which I unlearned those messages that different was deficient. But for too many students and alums, that wasn't necessarily their experience at Brown. And I can tell you that DNAC came about partly as a response of frustration, disappointment, disillusionment with the experience of disability and neurodivergence on campus and beyond. Over the last couple decades, as Brown embarked on its historic work to expand the circle of inclusion and belonging, disability was often left out. It was left out of Brown's historic diversity audit in the mid-2000s. It was left out when Brown's Alumni Association did a survey of historically underrepresented groups, not surveying disability or neurodivergence. And it still at times has been left out with specific programming or institutional policies around equity, diversity, and inclusion. So DNAC really came about from a group of alums saying, you know what, that ain't cool. we can do better. We can do right as a community. And to the university's great credit, in 2002, when a former ACL executive board member, Zach Langway, became the vice president for alumni relations, Zach personally took it upon himself to change the direction of the conversation around disability on campus. And he invited Eli Wolf, class of 2000, good friend of mine who passed away about a year ago, co-founding chair of DNAC, and myself to ideate on what we could do to advance disability community and justice within the alumni community. And that's how DNAC was created. We spent about a year in partnership with the amazing team at Alumni Relations, Mary Ward, Natalia, and others, ideating, exploring different models, different best practices, like the ones you heard tonight. And we officially launched as a community less than a year ago. So let me tell you a little bit about what our community is trying to advance in the world, our mission and our actions. We can go to the next slide. DNAC is a community for alumni who identify or experience disability or neurodivergence. Now, I know that latter term may not be something everybody is throwing around all day long. So neurodivergence is an umbrella term that captures a whole host of cognitive states of being that historically were seen as deficits or disorders and reframes them as a part of the continuum of cognitive differences that are paradoxically normal. Under that umbrella of neurodivergence is autism, dyslexia, ADD, a constellation of mental health challenges or experiences, and others. So we're a community for alums who resonate or identify with those experiences. But it's also important for y'all to know that we're a community for parents of children who are experiencing disability or neurodivergence. You know, parents struggle tremendously, feel isolated and alone on that journey. So we felt it was important to build community for alums who are on that journey. And we're also a community that's for professionals or other allies who are engaged in disability justice, inclusion, disability rights, and or want to be engaged and learn how to advance disability as diversity within the spaces and communities that they're a part of. So that's who we're for. Our mission for that broad constituency is to build community, to provide support, and to pursue collective action towards disability justice. The community piece, I think we all know what that means. Too many folks with different brains and bodies feel alone or isolated in that experience. The support piece is essential. Navigating life after Brown with a physical disability, navigating complex systems, health insurance, Social Security, disability insurance. Those are challenging experiences for any person. And we hope to be a place of mutual support and resource sharing for alums on that journey. And the pursuit of disability justice is all about trying to make concrete change on campus, at Brown, and beyond. There's deeply entrenched ableism in policies and practices on campus at times. There's no community or cultural center on campus for students who resonate with disability or neurodivergence. And those are issues that our group are wanting to be catalysts for change around. So now, last slide, how can y'all be a part of this emerging community doing important work? Well, we're new. we need help promoting our group and asking alums to engage or join if they resonate or identify as disabled or neurodivergent. There's challenges that face our group because of HIPAA, which is federal legislation around sharing private medical information, in capturing data from students on campus, having that shared with us by the university. So it's an all hands on deck, it's an all channel approach. So if you're a class leader, an announcement about DNAC, a shout out on your socials, any and all of that, with the link to join. It's up there on your left, how to become a member. And it's open to all, as I explained. We also are in the process of launching for the next fiscal year, which is July to June, a set of programming that is exciting, hopefully, to a broad group. We have programming on issues of parenting a child with a disability or neurodivergence. We have programming on navigating work with a disability or neurodivergence, and a program around disability rights, disability justice, and culture, all coming down in the next fiscal year. So you can follow us on our socials or email us directly. The email's there. And lastly, we'd love to collab up on an event. We've done already a few wonderful events with the club ecosystem, the alumni club ecosystem, cultural events around books that have disability and intersectional themes. We're in deep conversation to collab with other affinity groups because disability is inherently an intersectional experience. It does not discriminate based on race, class, gender, or sexual orientation. It cuts across all of them. And so if you're interested in hosting a specific event for a class, if you're interested in co-sponsoring an event with a whole group of class, we're here. We're excited to partner with y'all, and we appreciate the work you do. And the last thing I want to leave us with before we open it up, we'll call it a night actually, is, disability is paradoxically a universal minority experience. There's a saying in the disability rights movement that we are all temporarily abled bodies. Every human being will experience disability or neurodivergent at some point in their lifetime, if they're lucky and live long enough. So think of us as a partner across the age continuum for alums. Think of us as a catalyst for having conversation about an issue that often we don't talk enough about. Now, I know we've running out of time, essentially. We got about 3 minutes, so I'll pause here. I'll see if there's any questions or final remarks, but it was an honor to be with you tonight, and I appreciate it tremendously. Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you so much for your leadership and for your presentation and reminding us of all the ways that we as class leaders can better be mindful and inclusive and aware of things that we might not have been aware of, or that we don't share that path. So that was incredible. I wonder if there are any questions from folks. in the sphere here as we round to 8 o'clock. Jonathan, I did have a question, sort of similar to what I asked Mara, because we have, I don't even know how many alumni classes that are not aware of some of the ways that language has changed, and how do we kind of get up to speed about language and disability justice. Are there additional resources that you can provide other than the ones that you mentioned, or are there ways that we can partner to raise the visibility and understanding around those?
Yeah, let me leave you all with two things in the last 30 seconds we got. So on DNAC's website, which I believe is listed here. If not, I'm remiss in not listing it. You can email us directly, or we can drop it in the chat. There is a dictionary, for lack of a better word, of terminology, and it outlines neurodivergence, etc. I will say to you that in an emerging framework that's important to hold on to rhetorically is the idea of experiencing disability. Because historically, we would say somebody is disabled, essentializing their experience, or has a disability, which implies that it's a sort of disease or something. And the notion of experiencing disability acknowledges the real challenges that come from embodied difference, but at the same time puts the onus of disability on the environment around the person. And then it focuses our attention on thinking about barriers that are getting in the way of diverse brains and bodies, opposed to medicalizing or pathologizing the experience. So that notion, it sounds small, but that idea of experiencing disability is important. Second thing I'll say, we have a guide of holding inclusive meetings that will be on our website. Look for that in the new fiscal year. Third thing I'll say, very concrete takeaway, analogous to the inspiring remarks that Mara gave. If you have a hidden disability that people can't see, stop faking normal. Share it if you're comfortable, because you never know who in your class is hiding it too. And if you throw out there that maybe you were dyslexic, or you struggled with depression, and you're comfortable doing that, it creates a virtuous cycle of breaking the disastrous cycle of shame and hiding. So stop faking normal if you can. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jonathan. And with that, I want to thank everybody for being here.
Question.
Question. Oh, sorry,
Quick-
Bill. Yep.
Quick question for Jonathan. Jonathan, I'm in the class of 75. I'm as old as dirt. But if I could find, have you considered a mentoring program? If I could find someone in my class who would like to mentor a student or another alumni who's having similar troubles, have you considered a mentoring program?
Yeah. Thank you for your comment, Bill. And my good friend Eli Wolf, who passed away a year ago, paraplegic athlete, Paralympic athlete. His whole jam, man, his whole life was mentoring. And so in the new fiscal year, we'll be announcing a mentorship program in his honor. So you can hit up the emails that were on the slide. You can hit me up directly. My email is jonathanmooney@me.com, and we'll make it happen, my man. Appreciate you. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Mara, and thank you, V. I want to do a special shout out to Salsa and Bill and Alice from team training on the ACL board and the Alumni Affairs. And thank you for all your work. Thank you for your leadership of engaging our class. And we look forward to seeing you at the next training in the fall, where we'll highlight some more affinity groups. And we hope that you'll be in touch with these folks and their work. Have a great day, everybody, and stay ever true.